All right, so you've been exploring Neon Genesis Evangelion, and you want to get a grip on this whole human instrumentality project thing.
Yep.
A big one.
Huge. Right.
Absolutely. And you've even brought some Japanese sources to the table.
Oh, wow.
That's really cool. We're going to break this down together.
I'm excited.
I am too, especially with those Japanese sources.
Yeah.
Those always add another layer
really?
later.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
The Human Instrumentality Project is one of those things that really gets you thinking.
Absolutely.
Multi-layered, philosophical, a bit mind-bending.
Yeah.
But we're going to break it down.
Okay, perfect.
Make it make sense.
So for anyone who might need a refresher,
right,
Evangelion is set in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Humanity's on the brink.
Yeah.
We've got these powerful beings called angels.
Uh-huh.
And that's where these giant biomachines come in.
Yes.
The Evangelions.
The EVAs.
Right.
The Human Instrumentality Project is the real mystery here.
It is.
It's not just about fighting these angels.
Yeah.
It's about
the fate of humanity itself.
Exactly.
It's a plan to unite all human minds into a single entity.
Okay.
Imagine a world without individual egos, without conflict, without suffering. That's the goal, at least.
That's a powerful image.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder, though, is it really possible to just erase all those boundaries between individuals?
Yeah, and that's where the concept of the AT field comes into play.
Oh, okay.
You know that feeling sometimes like there's an invisible wall between you and other people?
Uh-huh.
Maybe it's anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's social awkwardness or past experiences.
I get that.
The AT field is like that.
Yeah.
But amplified to a cosmic level.
Cosmic level.
A barrier that separates individuals.
And it plays a crucial role in both piloting the EVAs and understanding instrumentality.
So the Human Instrumentality Project basically aims to break down those AT fields.
That's it.
And create like a unified consciousness?
Yeah.
That's heavy stuff.
It is.
But where does this idea even come from?
So that's where the Dead Sea Scrolls come in. According to the source material, these ancient documents seem to predict the course of human history, including the need for instrumentality.
So it's almost like a prophecy.
It is like a prophecy, suggesting that humanity is inherently flawed.
Right.
Destined for self-destruction.
Wow.
Unless it undergoes this radical transformation.
Okay, so we've got prophecies. Yeah. We've got ancient texts. Definitely adds a layer of mystery.
Definitely.
But one of the articles that you shared suggested that there might be different interpretations of those scrolls.
Absolutely.
Some scholars argue that they don't necessarily predict a single future, but rather a range of possibilities.
Yeah, like a choose-your-own-adventure.
Right, exactly.
Multiple paths we could take.
And that leads us to the two main factions behind the project. Sakiel.
Right.
And NRV.
Yes.
See the shadowy organization.
No, yeah.
Obsessed with those prophecies.
Right.
They're convinced that instrumentality is the only way to save humanity.
The only way. It's like a divine mandate.
But then it gets even more complicated when you consider NRV, the paramilitary organization led by Shinji's father.
Gendo Ikari.
Yeah. He's a key figure in all of this.
Absolutely.
But his motives seem to go beyond just those prophecies.
It seems that way.
That's what really hooked me.
Oh, yeah.
In these Japanese sources.
Yeah.
This idea that Gendo might be driven by something more personal.
What do you mean?
Like he's not just a puppet master, you know, controlling humanity's destiny, but a man grappling with his own desires and grief.
That's a really interesting take.
The source material hints that his ultimate goal is to reunite with his wife.
Yui.
Whose soul is trapped within Unit 01.
Right.
Wow.
So he's trying to manipulate this grand apocalyptic plan for a deeply personal reason.
That's heavy.
It is.
High stakes gamble.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Adds a whole new layer to the story.
It does.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not just about saving humanity.
Right.
It's about individual desires clashing with this cosmic plan.
And speaking of clashing, we can't forget about the angels.
The angels, right?
These otherworldly beings that humanity is fighting.
Right.
The angels might be a form of unity themselves.
Wow, okay.
Which makes this whole thing even more complex.
Yeah.
Both angels and humans originated from seeds of life.
Right.
According to Evangelion lore.
Okay.
So in a way, humanity is trying to achieve the very state of being that they're fighting against.
Whoa, that's...
a real mind bender.
Yeah.
It is a mind bender.
It's like looking in a mirror, seeing your enemy reflected back.
But if the angels represent a form of unity, then why are they attacking humanity?
That's one of the big mysteries.
What are they trying to achieve?
That's the question.
Right.
Some theories suggest that they're drawn to Lilith, the second angel, who is contained within NRV headquarters.
Right.
Others propose that they're trying to trigger a third impact.
A third impact?
A catastrophic event that would reshape the world.
Okay, so we've got ancient prophecies, shadowy organizations, a grieving father with a hidden agenda, enigmatic angels. And all of this is tied to the Human Instrumentality Project.
It all comes back to that.
Which aims to merge all of humanity into a single consciousness.
Right.
This is already getting pretty intense.
Yeah.
But where do the Evangelions fit into all of this?
Good question.
They're not just...
your average giant robots.
Right.
Not at all. They're biomachines.
Biomachines.
Created from the genetic material of angels.
Wow.
Specifically Adam and Lilith.
Okay.
They're the only weapons capable of fighting other angels.
So humanity is using the enemy's power against them.
Exactly.
But one of the articles you shared mentioned that piloting an Evangelion isn't just sitting in a cockpit pulling levers.
No, it's a deeper connection between the pilot and the Eva.
Almost like a merging of minds.
Yes.
Which seems to tie back into that AT field concept we talked about earlier.
Piloting an Eva requires synchronizing with its AT field.
Okay.
Blurring the lines between human and angel. It's like tapping into a primal force.
So they're not just controlling a machine.
Right.
They're interfacing with something ancient and powerful.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I need a moment to process all this.
It's a lot to take in.
Ancient prophecies, shadowy organizations, grieving father with a hidden agenda, enigmatic angels, giant biomachines, a plan to merge all of humanity into a single consciousness.
It's a lot.
We've barely scratched the surface.
You've only just begun.
But I think it's important to acknowledge.
What's that?
That the Human Instrumentality Project, it's a complex and ambiguous concept.
Absolutely.
There are so many interpretations of its purpose, its implication, whether it's a good or bad thing.
Yeah, and that's what makes Evangelion so thought-provoking. It doesn't offer easy answers.
It really doesn't.
Challenges us to grapple with big questions.
About human nature.
Our place in the universe.
The meaning of existence.
Exactly.
So for you listening,
as
we move into part 2 of this deep dive, we want you to think about this.
Okay, I'm listening.
Based on what we've discussed so far, do you think the Human Instrumentality Project is a path to salvation?
Okay.
A descent into oblivion? Or something else entirely?
That's the question, isn't it?
It is.
Keep that question in mind as we explore the different interpretations of this mind-bending concept.
Exactly.
We'll be back.
Sounds good. Okay, so we're back.
Back again.
Ready to go even deeper into this Human Instrumentality Project.
Let's do it.
We left off with a big question.
Yeah?
Is this a path to salvation?
Right.
A descent into oblivion? Or something else entirely?
It's the question.
And it's a question.
That's fueled countless debates.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Among fans.
And for good reason.
For good reason.
The series itself offers multiple interpretations.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when you compare the original anime ending with the rebuild of Evangelion films.
Yeah, you've hit on a crucial point.
What?
The way instrumentality is depicted, both visually and thematically, shifts dramatically between those two versions.
So it's like
looking at two sides of the same coin, each reflecting a different aspect of this complex concept.
All right, so let's break it down.
Okay.
In the original anime instrumentality, is triggered during Third Impact.
Right.
This apocalyptic event that reshapes the world. And it's presented as this complete merging of all souls into a single entity.
Into one.
It's like everyone's individual consciousness just dissolves into this primordial soup of LCL.
Exactly. The visuals in the original anime really emphasize the sense of dissolution. We see these stark, abstract images of human forms merging together, losing their distinct features.
Right, and Shinji.
Yeah.
our protagonist, initially struggles with this loss of individuality.
He feels adrift.
Right.
Uncertain.
Yeah. Even terrified.
Like, he's asking if I'm not me anymore, then who am I?
Exactly.
That scene on the beach with Asuka?
Oh, yeah.
Where they're the only two individuals left?
For a moment.
Powerful.
It's so haunting.
Yeah.
And ambiguous.
It's almost like Eno, creator, is saying, here's the end result. Now you decide what it means.
It's brilliant.
It is brilliant. Forces the viewer to confront their own beliefs about individuality, connection, the meaning of existence.
And that ending sparked endless debate.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Is Shinji ultimately rejecting instrumentality?
Is he embracing it?
Or is it something more complex?
Than a simple yes or no.
Yeah.
And that's where the rebuild films come in.
Okay.
They offer a different perspective on instrumentality. Visually, it's a complete departure.
It is.
From the original anime.
Totally different.
Instead of that primordial soup, we see this interconnected network of light.
Oh, wow.
With individual souls still discernible.
Okay.
Within the larger whole.
Interesting.
Almost like a web of interconnected consciousnesses.
Precisely.
So the rebuild films kind of reimagine instrumentality.
They do.
As a more nuanced process.
Yes.
It's not about
completely erasing the self.
Right.
But about breaking down the barriers that separate us, allowing for a deeper level of empathy and understanding.
So it's less about obliterating individuality and more about achieving a state of interconnectedness.
Yeah.
Like retaining our sense of self while also being part of something larger.
Yes. And this shift in perspective is reflected in Shinji's character arc. In Rebuild, he's less angsty, more proactive.
He comes to understand the potential of instrumentality.
He does.
Not as a means of escape.
Right.
But as a way to heal.
The wounds of humanity.
And create a more compassionate world.
Exactly.
But one of your sources pointed out that this reinterpretation of instrumentality and rebuild also raises some questions.
Like what?
Like if individual consciousness persists, does that mean suffering and conflict still exist within this unified state?
Interesting question.
Is it truly a utopia?
Right.
Or is it simply a different form of existence?
With its own set of challenges.
Yeah.
That's a question that the Rebuild films are really grapple with.
Yeah.
Particularly in the final film, Twice Upon a Time.
We see Shinji actively shaping the nature of instrumentality.
He's taking control.
It suggests that it's not a fixed outcome, but rather a process that can be influenced by human choice.
So even within this unified state, there's still room for free will and agency.
So it's not just a preordained endpoint?
No.
That's a pretty big departure.
It is.
From the original anime's more deterministic view.
More deterministic.
Of instrumentality.
Right.
These are some
seriously mind-bending questions.
They are some mind-bending questions.
It's fascinating to see how those questions play out differently in the original anime and the Rebuild films.
But one character who seems to have a consistent perspective on instrumentality in both versions is Kaworu.
Kaworu.
Right.
Yeah.
He's the angel who befriends Shinji and then sacrifices himself.
Right.
His role in all of this
is pretty crucial. Absolutely.
Right.
Kaworu represents a different perspective on instrumentality. One that challenges both Seeley's deterministic view and Gendo's more personal agenda.
Right. He sees it not as a solution to human suffering, but as a potential trap.
A trap.
Yeah, he even tells Shinji that humanity needs a future.
Even with all
its pain and uncertainty.
He argues that true happiness can only be found in embracing individual existence.
With all its complexity.
With all the complexity.
And contradictions.
Yeah, and in Rebuild, Kaworu actively tries to prevent third impact, fearing that it will lead to a stagnant and artificial form of unity.
Right.
He believes that true connection can only be achieved through genuine understanding.
Empathy.
Not through forced merging of minds.
So Kaworu's role in Rebuild is almost like a counterpoint
It is.
To Gendo's desire to force instrumentality for his own selfish reasons.
He's advocating for a more organic form of connection, one that respects individual choice.
It's like he's saying, hey, unity is great.
Yeah.
But not if it comes at the cost of our individuality and our ability to choose our own path.
And that message seems to resonate.
Even more strongly.
Even more strongly.
In Rebuild, where Shinji ultimately chooses to create a world where both individuality and connection can coexist.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the core question
we posed earlier.
Is the Human Instrumentality Project a path to salvation?
A descent into oblivion?
Or something else entirely?
The answer... it seems, is far more complex.
Is it a simple yes or no?
It depends on your perspective, your beliefs, and ultimately your choices.
So for you listening, we want to leave you with this thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
If you were in Shinji's position, facing the choice between individual existence and unity, what would you choose?
That's the question.
And more importantly, why?
Why indeed?
Keep those questions in mind.
Yes.
As we move into the final part.
The final part.
Of our deep dive.
Or we'll explore the lasting impact of Evangelion.
Right.
And its enduring relevance.
In today's world. So we've spent the last 2 parts of this deep dive kind of wrestling with the Human Instrumentality Project.
Yeah.
All its different interpretations.
And the really profound questions it raises about who we are and what it means to be human.
Big questions.
Huge.
Yeah.
But Evangelion isn't just about these abstract philosophical concepts.
Right.
It's a work of art that's had a massive impact on anime and pop culture as a whole.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
And explore that lasting legacy.
I'm game.
It's pretty incredible to think about how a series created back in the 90s is still so relevant today.
It really is. It's a testament to the series' depth and originality.
Absolutely.
Evangelion didn't just tell a story.
Right.
It created a world so rich, so complex, so emotionally resonant that it continues to captivate audiences and inspire creators decades later.
One of the things that struck me while going through the sources you provided was how Evangelion redefined the mecha genre.
Totally.
Before this, giant robots were often seen as just cool fighting machines.
Right.
But Evangelion gave us these biomachines.
Right.
That were extensions of the pilot's psyches.
Yeah, their vulnerabilities were exposed for all to see.
Right. They weren't just weapons.
They were characters.
They were characters.
In their own right.
In those fight scenes.
Oh, man.
Right.
They were ballets of violence.
Yes.
Infused with psychological and emotional weight.
Totally. You felt every blow.
Every single one.
Both physically and mentally.
It's no wonder that so many anime series that came after Evangelion have tried to capture that same intensity and depth.
You see it in series like Gurren Lagann.
Oh, yeah.
With its over-the-top action and themes of human willpower, or in Code Geass.
Right.
Where those mecha battles are intertwined with political intrigue and moral dilemmas.
Absolutely.
Even in a series like Attack on Titan.
Okay.
Which features giant humanoid creatures instead of robots.
Right.
You can see the influence of Evangelion.
Oh, totally.
In the way the action is deeply connected to the characters' inner struggles and the horrors of war.
Evangelion broke the mold.
It did.
It wasn't afraid to explore dark, complex themes that most mecha anime wouldn't touch.
We're talking about depression,
isolation,
the search for meaning,
fear of connection,
the weight of responsibility.
All of that.
These are things we all grapple with.
Right.
Regardless of whether we're piloting giant robots.
Or just trying to navigate life.
Exactly.
It did all of this.
And it did it.
While still being incredibly entertaining.
Yeah, you had giant robots fighting angels.
Apocalyptic events.
Mind-bending philosophical concepts.
Wait, you also had
compelling characters.
Nutty dialogue.
And a killer soundtrack.
Speaking of characters, that's another area where Evangelion left its mark.
It really did. The characters weren't just archetypes.
Right.
Or stereotypes.
They were flawed.
They were relatable.
Deeply human.
Yes.
They made mistakes.
They struggled.
They hurt each other.
But they also showed moments of incredible courage. Compassion.
And selfless.
I was particularly struck by
how
Evangelion portrayed the emotional and psychological toll of piloting an Evangelion.
Oh, absolutely.
Shinji's crippling self-doubt.
Asuka's desperate need for validation.
Rei's struggle to understand her own identity.
These weren't just kids and robots.
Right.
They were complex individuals.
Wrestling with trauma, pressure of saving the world.
And that's what makes them so compelling.
It is.
We see ourselves in their struggles, their insecurities, their moments of doubt and despair.
Right.
Evangelion reminded us that even heroes are human.
Yes.
And that it's okay to be vulnerable.
It's okay to be afraid.
To not have all the answers.
And let's not forget the visuals.
Oh, the visuals. Right. Groundbreaking.
The character design.
The monster designs.
The haunting landscapes.
The use of abstract imagery.
The fluid animation.
It pushed the boundaries.
It really did.
Of what anime could achieve.
Technically and artistically.
Evangelion was a game changer.
It was perfect.
You can see its influence in everything.
Yeah.
From the stylized action of Kill la Kill to the surreal, mind-bending imagery of Serial Experiments Lane and Paprika.
And then there's the music.
Oh, the music.
Right.
That iconic opening theme.
Yeah.
A Cruel Angel's Thesis.
It's become an anthem.
For a generation.
And the rest of the soundtrack?
Incredible.
Right. With its blend of orchestral choral and electronic elements.
It captures the emotional roller coaster.
That is Evangelion.
It's epic.
Haunting.
Deeply moving.
Jiro Sagisu's score is a masterpiece.
It's a masterpiece.
It's as much a character in the story
Absolutely.
as any of the pilots or angels.
And it's had a profound influence.
It has.
On countless other anime composers.
But beyond the technical achievements, I think the lasting impact of Evangelion lies in its willingness to ask the big questions.
Yes.
To delve into the depths of human experience.
To explore those dark corners.
To explore the dark corners of our psyches.
It's a series that makes you think.
It makes you feel.
It stays with you.
Long after you finish watching.
It invites you to participate in the conversation.
To wrestle with those big questions.
To come to your own conclusions.
And that's why Evangelion continues to resonate with audiences today.
More than 25 years.
More than 25 years after its initial release.
It's a reminder.
It is.
That even in a world that's increasingly complex and uncertain, there's still power in stories that explore the fundamental questions of what it means to be human.
Stories that challenge us.
Stories that comfort us.
That make us feel less alone.
Less alone.
In our own struggles.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Neon Genesis Evangelion, we encourage you
to keep exploring.
Keep questioning.
Keep searching.
For those stories that resonate with your soul.
And remember,
even in the face of existential dread, there's always hope.
Hope.
The hope of connection. The hope of understanding. The hope of finding meaning in our own unique and messy human experience.
And that's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
On our Evangelion deep dive.
We hope you enjoyed it.
We hope you enjoyed this exploration.
Of one of anime's most thought-provoking
and influential series.
Until next time.
Keep those brains buzzing.
And those hearts open.